You've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us.
People who are incubators for every variant to come, walking around lawfully unvaccinated? That's psychotic.
For the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death. For yourselves, your families, and the hospitals you may soon overwhelm.
About this, in a world of threats and tyrants and terror, you know what our biggest enemy is in America? Our fellow Americans.
They are the ones that are propagating this outbreak.
Being frustrated that there is still a percentage of the population who are not vaccinated.
I wish that he would go further to restrict the activities of the unvaccinated.
Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
That 25% can cause a lot of damage, and they are.
If you're willing to walk among us unvaccinated, you are an enemy.
Well, you know, it's my rights, but okay. But I don't care.
The pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Well, look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated, and they're killing people.
Freedom not to follow the facts, even if your freedom kills people? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of freedom do they really want?
We have a pandemic because of the unvaccinated, and they're sowing enormous confusion. The unvaccinated overcrowd our hospitals, are overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units, leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or pancreatitis or cancer.
Shouldn't they have to pay more into the system because they are collapsing our health system? They're the ones in the ERs.
Require vaccination universally. Have the military run it. If you don't want to get vaccinated, you better be ready to prove your conscientious objector status in court.
Almost like it's going to be two Americas.
Another thing causing heart problems and blood clots. This week's reason is car exhaust and climate change. One of people's favorite drinks could be causing blood clots. It's black tea. Loneliness caused by social media is now a new leading cause for heart attacks and blood clots among young people. Are bloods getting thick?
Yeah. Your blood thickens and then clots, what extreme heat can do to your body.
Herbal supplements. Herbal supplements are the new thing causing heart problems in young people. Certain sleeping positions can cause blood clots and heart attacks. Napping and showering.
Cold showers.
Cold showers and napping is what's causing heart problems, strokes, and blood clots this week. We just wanted to let everyone know. Hopefully no one's taking naps or showering out there. Teens are getting irregular heartbeats from air pollution.
Warning, woman who ate the same fruit daily almost lost her leg from dangerous blood clot.
So this is a new development. The fruit was grapefruit.
University student dies of joy after hearing he'd passed his exams with flying colors.
Very sad to hear. Joy can cause heart problems, it sounds like.
Scientists studying temperature at which humans spontaneously die with increasing urgency.
U.S. life insurance companies have reported an overwhelming and unexplainable increase in all-cause deaths among 18 to 49-year-olds. Along with that, there's also been an increase in certain medical diagnoses, such as miscarriages and Bell's palsy.
Heart attacks are becoming increasingly more common in women under 50, and medical experts
catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes. Now, part of the reason for this is that we have invested a huge amount in nuclear deterrence, but we've actually invested very little in a system to stop an epidemic. A wake-up call to get ready. If we start now, we can be ready for the next epidemic. Thank you.
These injections have been made to injure people, to maim and kill, deliberately. We didn't just get some virus drifting in and then, oh, we all panicked. They all did the same stupid, ineffective, known not to work things at the same time, none of which were in their country's pandemic preparedness plans, because I've read them all, right? So when I accuse these people of lying, I do it confident they're not going to sue me, because I would say, come on, sue me, I'd love to have discovery in courts. You will lose big time. And so they won't sue me. What they do is smear me and censor me. And I don't care anymore because we're facing something much worse than an alleged virus. At the very least, the things people have been injected with, the injuries to people from these so-called vaccines, I'm afraid, I wish I could tell you that it was accidental, but it wasn't accidental. I've spent 32 years in rational drug design. I know, and I knew, and wrote it, before any of them had emergency use authorization, that they were dangerous. And I'm afraid I'm convinced and would say, with my hand on the Bible in front of a court, a judge, that these injections have been made to injure people, to maim and kill, deliberately.
Trump took office, Dr. Fauci gave a speech warning all of us that Trump would have to deal with a cataclysmic pandemic. This was the day before Trump was sworn into office. He was warning us that the greatest crime in world history was about to happen. We should have been paying attention, but we weren't. Watch.
There is no question that there will be a challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases, but also there will be a surprise outbreak.
Surprise!
Surprise!
There will be a surprise outbreak.
He's not like saying some data shows that this is possible. Some data concludes that we may see this. It seems highly likely. No, he says will.
I'm strongly recommending for adolescents to get their 2 doses of vaccine and fully immunized after those 2 doses. This is going to be a long-lasting vaccine. We're seeing that 2 doses is not holding up well. You need that 3rd immunization. 2 mRNA vaccines were always a 3-dose vaccine, a 4th immunization, just to keep them going. The new bivalent one is doing a much better job. You have to get a booster. You're going to need a 3rd booster as well, a 5th. It looks as though the boosters are not holding up quite as well as we'd like. What's going to happen is every, few months, we may need another booster.
In the UK, Australia, South Africa, where they have good data systems, the contemporary, let's say late 2021 and 2022, the majority who have been hospitalized and died are fully vaccinated. So right now, New South Wales just put out their data. Now, Australia is interesting because they had pre-vaccinated the whole country and then COVID got there late. So Australia was the real test of whether or not the vaccines would work, and they failed colossally. So the most recent analysis, 99% of people hospitalized and died are fully vaccinated. United States, our CDC tracked these breakthrough infections. They tracked, people reported to CDC, May 1st of 2021, the CDC was overwhelmed with fully vaccinated Americans who were being hospitalized and died. They gave up. They put a notice on their website. They said, we gave up. We cannot track breakthrough infections. The vaccine was failing.
Each and every one of us. But now we have a shot to get our lives back to normal.
This is our shot to protect our communities.
This is our shot to keep our borders open.
Our shot to explore the world again.
To welcome friends back to our shores.
Our shot to keep live music alive.
Our shot to keep families safe.
Our shot to keep the crowds coming.
Our shot to keep businesses open.
And people in jobs.
Our shot to reunite families.
This is our shot to help save lives.
And to bring Australians home.
Our shot to get everyone together for Christmas.
This is our shot.
This is our shot.
Our shot. This is our shot.
This is our shot.
I've had my shot.
This is my shot.
This is my shot.
This is my shot. Come on, Australia. Let's get the job done.
Biden's chief medical advisor says people need what he calls trusted messengers.
The White House has now recruited TikTokers, YouTubers,
including some very big celebrities, on how to direct their followers to trusted vaccine content.
Build is one of the largest public education campaigns ever. The goal, convince Americans, get the COVID vaccine.
It's vaccination day. It's vaccination day. It's vaccination day.
So in July, Undersecretary Cisneros acknowledged the DMET data, the database working properly, and also acknowledged things such as myocarditis rising 151%. So what I did, I went in today, I'm doing the same thing, 5-year average, however I'm comparing it to 2022, and I only am using fixed wing pilots and helicopter pilots, active duty. So we get hypertensive disease, 36%, ischemic heart disease, 69%, Pulmonary heart disease, 62%. Heart failure, 973%. Other forms of heart disease, 63%. Cardiomyopathy, 152%.
And I opened the paper and I saw this girl had died unexpectedly. She woke up and died. Who knows? Young people are dying these days.
It is my duty and responsibility as a consultant cardiologist and public health campaigner to urgently inform doctors, patients, and members of the public that the COVID mRNA vaccine has likely played a significant role or been a primary cause of unexpected cardiac arrests, heart attacks, strokes, cardiac arrhythmias, and heart failure since 2021, until proven otherwise.
Papers showing that the myocarditis causes heart damage and a scar, and then the scar becomes the basis for a cardiac arrhythmia, and then the arrhythmia is responsible for the sudden death that we're seeing, and we're seeing sudden death now on a massive scale in younger people. It's my view, it's the COVID-19 vaccine until proven otherwise.
45-year-old Deputy Sheriff Chad Beatty. The coroner says he suffered a cardiac event in his patrol car.
Sabe por quê? Olha,
Do you know the Canadian comedian Nick Nemiroff? Here he is in hospital.
I will not get the third shot. I will not. Pfizer me once, no shame. Pfizer me twice, shame on COVID. Pfizer me 3 times, shame on you. You want me to get a third shot? What's next? A 5th shot? No, thank you.
We'd ask him on the show, but he's dead. 32 years old. Cause of death unknown.
We just saw a montage implicating, I think clearly demonstrating that the COVID-19 vaccines, actually all of them, cause myocarditis or heart inflammation, and it's fatal.
Your shot right now in your arm, it won't hurt. Get a shot, get a vaccine shot, get a shot, get a shot, get a vaccine shot. Get your vaccine, we make you sexy, sexy.
Vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market. If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunisation before it's entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market. And from that point of view, we had to do everything at
Current
risk.
vaccines are not infection blocking. They're not broad, so when new variants come up, you lose protection. And they have very short duration, particularly in the people who matter, which are old people. And every one of those things is fixable. In fact, doing that work is going to help vaccinology very, very broadly.
Bill Gates declared vaccines the best investment I've ever made.
There's been over a 20-to-1 return, over a 20-to-1 return. So if you just look at the economic benefits, that's a pretty strong number compared to anything else.
Is the world's largest private philanthropy causing harm? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has made millions of dollars each year from companies blamed for many of the same social and health problems the foundation seeks to address. The Gates Foundation has investments in 69 of the worst polluting companies in the U.S. and Canada. Other companies in the foundation's portfolio have been accused of transgressions, including forcing thousands of people to lose their homes, supporting child labor, defrauding and neglecting patients in medical care. The Gates Foundation has not provided details.
This is not a video I want to make, and it's kind of hard to make because as I'm watching myself, I see what I'm going to say, which is I have been diagnosed with Bell's palsy, which is paralysis on one side of the face. For me, it's this side here, the left, obviously. So I got it about 2 weeks after getting my vaccine. And I had a rough go with the vaccine, and I guess still am. But I have to say that I would do it again because it's what we have to do to see people. So, I don't know why I'm making this video, but here's my word smile.
What you say about somebody exercising their freedom not to have a vaccine and they're perfectly healthy. I don't want them sitting next to me in the theatre. I don't want them standing next to me at the theatre bar. I don't want them next to me or anywhere near me or even in the same carriage on the train. So, they can exercise their freedom by staying at home.
If that you don't want a vaccine or a booster, then you can decide not to go to hospital however ill you get. And that is your right.
So you would leave the unjabbed at home to die if they had a heart attack, if they suffered from a stroke?
That's their choice.
Refuse to accept vaccines. I think the right response for them is not to force them to, but rather to insist that they be isolated.
Giving up your human rights is justifiable. It's justifiable to take away a person's bodily autonomy when you have a global pandemic.
Those who haven't had jabs but could have jabs need to have a badge saying unjabbed.
Really?
Yeah.
We just have to make people understand that, no jab, no life, and that's how it is.
Without proof of the vaccine, you can't go into a pub, club, restaurant, gymnasium, anywhere at all. You can't travel, theatre. You can't even go into work. I mean, personally, I have to say, I don't even think that we should allow people on the streets unless they've had the vaccine.
We've tried the education, we've tried the carrot, we now move to the stick. If it takes time now, the time to find people, great. Let's start. Let's never go with €100. Make it £100, right? And it starts, and I tell you what, it's not 60, but let's make it 40 and above, starting on Monday. Okay? Now, if we come round, knock on the door, and you can show on your phone, or you've got a letter or something, you've got an appointment, that's fine. But if you willfully oppose now, you're 40 and above, £100 fine in December, £100 fine in January, £200 in February, £300 in March. By the end of the year, you'll be spending about £1,000, and that might cut through your ignorance.
You've had your booster, and when you see people who will not take it, putting themselves at risk, it's said, how do you feel the same way I do? Does that make you angry?
It makes me angry, especially in America where they talk about, it's my right, it's my freedom. No, it's not, because you are a killer.
Don't get if you're not vaccinated at the moment and you're eligible and you've got no health reason for not being vaccinated, you're not just irresponsible. I mean, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. I mean, that is, truthfully, you are. People have got to understand vaccination is going to be, in the end,
your route to liberty.
Stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say it's mandatory to get vaccinated. F them, f their freedom. I want my freedom to.
You don't want to get vaccinated. That's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train beside vaccinated people and put them at risk.
We're going to move to a situation where, to protect the health system, we're going to lock out people who are not vaccinated and can be. If you're making the choice not to get vaccinated, then you're making the wrong choice. You're making the wrong choice. And for safety's sake, and back to that point about how much work our nurses have to do, as this becomes absolutely a pandemic of the unvaccinated and we open everything up, it's not going to be safe for people who are not vaccinated to be roaming around the place spreading the virus. That's what they'll be doing.
What do you think he's doing?
Okay, this is no joke. This is what people are doing. It's great.
It's not social distancing.
Put your mask on.
Get away from
Put
me.
it on.
For freedom. Stop it.
Whoa, whoa.
What is going on inside their head?
So this guy in Michigan came up with this idea.
6 feet apart. Oh yeah.
Extreme measures of self-isolation.
It gets the point across.
So you can wear it comfortably all day. Share your smile. Z-Shield wraps your face.
On prend une bouchée et on remet le masque. On prend une bouchée et on remet le masque.
Help us put the mask in mascots. You must wear your mask.
I shouldn't have to make it fun. It's science. It's science.
They say they don't want to do it. They're Republicans. They don't like to be told what to do. Right. And we got to break that, unpack that.
How you guys doing with vaccine?
I haven't gotten it yet. I'm waiting for them to be able to.
Oh, you should get it first. Okay, that way you won't give it to them.
Oh, I thought I would give it to them if I get it.
No, not at all. In fact, we got to get you vaccinated so that if you were to get infected, you could pass it on to them. So you're actually protecting your family by getting him vaccinated.
Well, I heard that it doesn't cure it and it doesn't stop you from getting it.
No.
So
on the very, very, very rare chance that you do get it, even if you're vaccinated, you don't even feel sick. It's like you don't even know you got infected. It's very, very good at protecting you.
Just the Anacostia, so get up there. Okay.
All right, see you later.
Thank you. Have a good day.
The people in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not
It's
like
much
the
more
common
serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
Well, the number that you all giving that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, it's something else going on with that. It's something else going on.
It is something going on with
something
it.
else.
You're right. But I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city. But I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with
MD, Anthony Fauci.
No, screw your freedom. You're a schmuck for not wearing a mask.
2, 3, 4 doses of the vaccine, it's not so good at preventing infection in the first place.
Getting that third dose is protection against severe illness, but also protection against getting infected in the first place.
I'm an OBGYN that practices in St. Pete, Florida. I can definitely say since the vaccine rollout started, we have seen in our practice a decrease in new OB numbers, which would be infertility, by about 50%. We've also seen an increase in miscarriage rate by about 50%. And I would say there's probably about a 25% increase in abnormal pap smears, as well as cervical malignancies in our area.
Person has again had his request rejected.
Just can't happen safely.
Really? Families plea attracting attention nationwide. A small group gathering at Marco's hotel last night. Marco Martilla's third exemption application just to say goodbye to his dying mum rejected by Queensland Health, who told him there are a number of relevant considerations that the Chief Health Officer must balance when using discretion to grant an exemption.
I've given class exemptions to people in the sporting industry for a whole range of codes. I've given exemptions to people in entertainment and film because that's bringing a lot of money into this state.
4 hours too late to be released out of quarantine.
Annalie passed away on Thursday night. Marco was let out at midnight.
He had to come home to his dead mother.
It was a gigantic lie. And on this lie, everything that governments, especially in the Western democracies, did to infringe on people's rights, to take away their freedom, to lock them in their homes, imposing curfews. All of this was based on that gigantic lie. Ursula von der Leyen, EU Commission President, is now under a lot of pressure, and rightly so. The people have a right to know what went on in these contracts with her exchange of SMS with CEO Pfizer Bourla. The people need to know who they can hold responsible and accountable for whatever may have gone on behind the scenes. And things are changing now. Their house of cards is tumbling down, and it is doing so rightfully. And you know what? One more thing, though. I am sick and tired of being called a COVIDiot. And I much rather be a COVIDiot than being a gov idiot. Because that's what all these people blindly trust. Because that's what all these people that blindly trusted their governments turned out to be. And I will say it again, it was never, never ever about public health. It was never about breaking any waves. It was always about breaking people. But, and that's the good news, they failed. It didn't work. And that I am very proud of, and I'm proud of the people that I am so honored to be allowed to represent. And I will continue to do just that. Thank you very much.
It was really developing an us versus them worldview.
Authorities say they're usually closely monitoring 40 to 50 potential terrorists. These people used to be motivated by their white identity or by their faith. But in the past 6 months, a third group has emerged, those motivated by politics.
And so it could be the COVID measures that the government took, or it could be other policies that are interpreted as infringing on rights. And it's what I sometimes describe as a kind of hot mess of ideologies and beliefs, fueled by conspiracy theories.
Shot. We've got to make sure we clarify that with people. It has nothing to do whether or not it's effective. We know it's highly effective. Highly effective.
More cautious when reading about COVID on Twitter.
Be extra cautious when you're looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
The company drops its COVID misinformation policy.
Twitter has dropped its COVID-19 misinformation policy.
Be cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious while looking at health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious while you're looking for health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information.
Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD STAT. So a pretty well recognized site. Now, I've been taking data from quite a few sites like CDC, Office for National Statistics, quite a few others, Our World in Data, but the OECD data is consistent. This is not some aberration. This is happening, and it's on a huge scale, totally huge scale. Let's dive in straight away with Australia. Now, for weeks 1 to 34 in 2023 in Australia, there was 14,710 excess deaths, 16.8% above what we would expect.
So what is an excess death? So they know how many people are supposed to die every week. They know how many people are supposed to die every month. They know how many people are supposed to die every year. And so now people are dying at way higher rates than they're supposed to be. In fact, in Australia, in the first 3 weeks, 14,000 more people, almost 15,000 more people died in 3 weeks than we're supposed to. That's a 16% increase in deaths.
Maybe they were harboring Hamas.
And maybe that is.
Based on the 2015 to 2019
I'm sorry,
average.
that's from the first 34 weeks, 1 through 34.
16.8% more deaths than we would expect in Australia in the first 34 weeks of 2023. Incredible, really. Now, the COVID deaths, according to the Australian authorities, or according to OECD, just under 5,000. So we can see that only a minority of these deaths were COVID deaths. Now, these deaths that are attributed to COVID, of course, we're not going to go into the debate of with COVID or from COVID, but the vast majority of these people, pretty well all of these, had significant age factors or comorbidities. For the vast majority of people, me last month, for example, COVID is a relatively minor disease. It knocks you off for a week or two, but it's not a life-threatening disease for the vast majority of people. So I suspect that these are people in vulnerable risk groups primarily. Australia 2022, the whole year, weeks 1 to 52.
Look at that.
The number was 29,738.
Higher in 2022, 18%.
18.7% above what we would expect. Add the two together and you get 44,448 excess deaths in Australia. So, we're looking at about 17, 18% excess deaths in Australia. Is this an isolated case? Of course not.
Once Health Watch, sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet, sponsored by Pfizer.